If you think that herpes always shows up as some big obvious sore, think again. Some of the signs are so subtle that you'd never guess that they were related. And in some cases, there are actually no signs at all. And this is why so many people don't even know they have herpes. I get asked all the time, what does it feel like to have herpes? What are your symptoms like? So be sure to stick around because in this episode, I'm going to break down the top 5 signs that indicate that you may have herpes. Hi, I'm Dupree, and I help people to navigate life with herpes. And for those that are new to this channel, I want to welcome you. And for those that are returning, welcome back. I am so thankful to have all of you here with me today. Here at Herpes Wellness, we provide education, support, and empowerment for those living with herpes. And if you don't have herpes and you're just looking for more information, we're here to help you too. Now, before we dive in, I want to invite all of you to join our community by downloading the Herpes Wellness app. There, you'll have free access to our forums where you can ask questions, seek advice, and help other members on their journeys. And for a limited time, for anyone who signs up for the free support membership, we're going to upgrade you to the Connection membership, which includes access to a whole bunch of cool features, such as a listing in our member directory and member search, direct messaging with other members, a group chat lounge, member-led events, both virtual and in person, plus monthly live streams with me where we talk about everything herpes. Now, normally, this membership is $19 a month, but you'll get this access for free for as long as you remain a member. And if you're concerned about privacy, we've got you totally covered. The app icon actually says H Wellness. So if someone happens to see your screen, you're not outed unintentionally. So be sure to join us at Herpes Wellness. The link to download the app for both the App Store and Google Play is in the description box below. Now let's get into it. Now, before we begin, I want to share my own personal experience because my first outbreak wasn't typical at all. There were no flu-like symptoms, I didn't have any tingling, and I didn't have any nerve pain or any of the warning signs that everyone talks about, right? What I noticed, though, was this one little bump, and it kind of looked like a pimple, and that's exactly what I thought it was. And even though I dated someone with genital herpes, because I wasn't experiencing anything dramatic or painful, I honestly convinced myself that there was no way that I had it. I even remember Googling pictures, trying to match like what I had to what I saw online. And in my head, I kept saying, well, mine doesn't look like that, so I must be fine. By the way, I totally do not recommend doing this because the herpes pictures you're going to find online literally will scare the daylights out of you because they always show the worst case scenarios. Anyway, a few months after I saw what I thought was a pimple, that's when I had my first real outbreak. I had all the telltale signs. I wasn't feeling well. I felt like the flu was coming on and I had this huge headache, like almost like a migraine, honestly. Then I started to feel tingling down there. And then I also felt this crazy like nerve pain going up like my left thigh and into my buttocks. And my skin was so sensitive that sitting was super challenging. And soon after that, I saw my first blister. And luckily for me, it was very small. I definitely knew it wasn't a pimple because it looked different and I completely felt different. The symptoms that I experienced before the blister appeared were worse than the actual blister itself. So I made an appointment with my doctor. I got a swab, and a few days later, it was confirmed. So my point here is that it's not always obvious that it's herpes, but here are 5 signs that it could be. I want you to keep in mind, though, that not everyone experiences the same symptoms. So where I get a big headache prior to every outbreak, you may not. And by the way, I'm not trying to freak you out here. I mean, what you might be experiencing may not be herpes. But if you see something on your body that you're unsure of, please be sure to get it checked out. Don't speculate and definitely don't rely on Dr. Google for a diagnosis. So let's start with number 1. Small pink or red bumps or blisters that go away over a couple of days. Now, this one might seem obvious, but you can mistake them for an ingrown hair, razor burn, or even a pimple like I did. Some herpes can look like and even be mistaken for a rash, but if you're getting small red or pink bumps or what looks like a blister or a small cluster of blisters in the same general area, like around your genitals, the mouth, or your buttocks, and they start to go away in a few days, then it could be a herpes outbreak. Number 2, itching or tingling in the same spot. Now, this is a huge clue, and it's a classic herpes symptom. If you've ever felt a weird tingling, itching, or burning sensation in the same spot over and over, especially before anything appears, that's called prodrome, or the period before an outbreak actually happens. It's basically your body's way of signaling that an outbreak is on its way. By the way, you can experience prodrome symptoms and not have a single blister show up and still pass herpes on to a partner because of asymptomatic shedding. So if you feel like something's coming on, it's best to stay away from any type of intimacy, kissing included, especially if you feel anything around your mouth. Number 3, flu-like symptoms. Fatigue, swollen lymph nodes, body aches, low-grade fever. These symptoms can show up during the first outbreak, and you may think you just caught a bug. But if you're experiencing flu-like symptoms and they're paired with genital discomfort or an odd skin irritation, like I mentioned before, don't rule out herpes as a possibility. Number 4, your skin feels ultra-sensitive in one area. Now, for this one, you may not see anything, but you can definitely feel it. Like your skin might be a little too sensitive for no clear reason. It may or may not be painful, and your skin becomes super aware that it's being touched. And if your hands are cold and touch that spot, oh my God, you're going to totally notice it. That cold touch could make it feel even more intense. And as I mentioned earlier, I feel mine travel up the back of my leg to my buttocks, and sitting can be challenging because my skin is so sensitive. But it doesn't happen every time. It just depends on how intense of an outbreak I'm having. And the more stress I'm under, the more intense they are. So if you ever notice a patch of skin that suddenly feels sensitive or reactive, and it keeps happening in the same general area, it's worth paying attention to because it could be herpes gearing up for an outbreak, even if nothing has appeared yet. And last but not least, number 5, pain while peeing, but it's not a UTI. Now, this one's a little bit tricky because at first it might feel like a UTI, but it's definitely not the same. With a UTI, the feeling is more about urgency. You constantly feel like you have to pee, and when you do, barely anything comes out. Then, 2 minutes later, you feel like you have to go again. And yes, there's that usual burning sensation people talk about, but for me, a UTI feels more like a pinching or an uncomfortable pressure, plus the urge to go is nonstop. With herpes, it's a completely different kind of discomfort. I always describe it like this. Imagine having a small open cut or blister where your urine passes over it. So when you pee, it stings pretty bad, very similar to putting like hydrogen peroxide on a cut. It's that sharp, raw, exposed kind of pain. And for women, this can be especially intense because we can have sores underneath or internally. So if you don't see anything on the outside, it could still burn when you go to the bathroom, just from where the sores are located. Now, for men, it's a little different. Unless there's a sore right at the tip of your, you might not even notice that kind of burning during urination at all. Nonetheless, if you feel discomfort while peeing and you find out from a doctor that it's not a UTI, that might be a good time to ask if it could be herpes or something else for that matter. Now, there's one other thing that I'd like to talk about. It's not a visible symptom or something you can feel, but it's definitely worth mentioning. Most people with herpes have no symptoms at all. There are no sores, there's no tingling, there's no clue, there's nothing. But that doesn't mean the virus isn't there. As a matter of fact, 80% of people who have herpes are completely asymptomatic and they can carry it for years without having a single outbreak. And during that time, they can still pass it on to someone else without even knowing it. So here's what I want you to take away. If you've noticed any of the signs that I mentioned earlier, don't freak out, but don't ignore it either. Ask your provider for a herpes test, even if they say you don't need one. My boyfriend was denied a test even after he told the doctor that he was dating someone with genital herpes. They told him that because he didn't have any symptoms, testing wasn't necessary. But that's simply not true. As I just explained, most people who have herpes don't even know they have it because they don't have any obvious symptoms. So if a doctor doesn't want to test you because they don't think it's necessary, find another doctor. You deserve to get the care you want and that you ask for. It doesn't matter if you've had sex once or 100 times. Herpes doesn't discriminate. Because the truth is, not knowing doesn't mean not having, and getting tested gives you answers. It gives you clarity so that you could take care of yourself and your partners. Well, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. And if you liked today's episode, please like and subscribe to the channel. And remember to join our free community by searching for the Herpes Wellness app in either the App Store or Google Play. Or you can just click the link in the description below to download. And if there are any topics that you would like for me to cover on this show, please leave them in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you the next time on the Herpes Wellness Podcast. Bye for now.